Hey guys, it's Austin back with another YouTube video. I've been holding off a little bit on making this video because there were, like I said in the last video, there were a few models that I was looking to add on to the display, and from the initial pan you guys could probably spot the new ones as well. And I will also mention this as well, you probably won't see this until like the next night video, but I did also get me a new shape projector off of Amazon. It's basically the same brand as the original one that was on the front wall of the house that has the USA, the Patriotic heart, and the 2 sets of fireworks. But instead, this one is the newer design, and it has 8 shapes in it with like a different slide set and such. But due to it being a daytime video, I'm not really able to show that. So I'll probably pick up on that one in the next night view that I do, because I think I might put one more in it, which, like I said, if you followed my last video, I guess you could probably take a guess. I'm not going to be buying a new one, but I'd be hopefully trying to repair the Uncle Sam Archway that I originally had to take out of before I filmed the first video, because its fan has a short in it, and I think it's not due to like an adapter, it's more due to just a cord problem. But like I said, hopefully by the next video I ought to have that one fixed, but I'm looking for like a place to put it in the current display, as I currently like the current lineup as it stands. Just another little quick pan, but enough chit chat. I'll get to the display. Also, a quick note, I was going to say this one's actually on yard inflatables, which, I mean, admittedly, I'm not very surprised about, but at the same time, like, I mean, in all the years that Airflows has designed inflatables, I never have seen any of them pop up on yard inflatables, unless I'm mistaken and one has, but I've just not seen it. But I believe that I think this is the first ever one that they've ever sold from Airflows on yard inflatables, because typically they either sell Jimmy, they sell like their own brand air characters, or I was trying to think if they sell any other designs. I think they might sell maybe from 1 or 2 other brands, but I've never seen them sell from Airflows. Post down in the comments if you guys know this is the first Airflows design. I want to say I thought they may have got the 20-foot mummy from Halloween 2 years ago, but I could be very wrong on that. But I was very surprised to see that they actually got this one on yard inflatables. I think you can get it for like $200, I think, and there's like, I think 5 or 4 left, I think, last I checked. So if you are having trouble finding this guy, which you probably shouldn't have already had trouble finding it, but you can go to yard inflatables now and pick this guy up easily. First new addition since the last video. It's like I was telling you guys, there was one air character's design that could probably beat out the ones that I'd already bought, and I gotta say, I've been looking forward to picking this bad boy up for a few years now, because back last year when I saw they sold out, I was very bummed, because I knew down the road I was going to try to get this guy over here, and I said, these guys alone to be good enough for a pairing. Like I said, if you want to get a Colossal and then put probably one of the, I'd say in terms of air characters, this is mid-size, because I know they do sell some 20-foot designs, I think, for Christmas. But for a Patriotic design, this is the biggest Patriotic air characters that they currently sell. But what can I say? Beautiful design. Funnily enough, just like its partner over here, these are actually sewed on and they are not printed on like what the stars on the ribbon and some of the other air characters designs have, which I really kind of like. And I love, you know, like where we get that kind of detail, even though I know some collectors are not huge like on the detachable like prints and such. But I really like this one. The only complaint I could really give it, and like I said, it's not really even that big of a problem to me, is like this one does have an AH1 and it does take a while to inflate. It would have been a lot more effective with an AH free, but overall, just in terms of aesthetics and just the impact it makes over here on this side of the yard, it's insane. And I mean, I know several people who collect air characters and just in general Patriotic inflatables. I know a lot of people have this one in their collection, and like I said, whenever I saw that one come back this year, I was like, yep, I'm definitely picking this one up this year. Also got another new pickup over here on the edge. If you know me personally, you know that I have mad respect for anybody who has a family member serving in the military, or for anybody out there serving in our armed forces. And this is another one like the Uncle Sam hat. It was on my list and on my radar because I knew so many people had it, but I knew Yard Inflatables sold out last year, and I at first wasn't sure if anybody else sold it. But luckily enough, you can just go over to 3D Military Gear and pick this one up. It's about, I think, $80 right now, I think, because it originally started at $100, but now you can get it for $80. But what can I say? I mean, this and the ribbon together, they are the perfect pairing, especially like I said in the last video, if you could find like the Support the Troops ribbon. I think it's called Support Our Troops. It's a Jimmy ribbon that they made back years ago. I think it was like a 2005 design. But I am so glad I was able to pick this one up, because even here in my local state and even from out of state friends, I have a lot of friends and family members who actively serve in the military. And I also would like to pay tribute to all those out there on active duty and just thank you guys for what you all do. You keep us safe and you keep us able to walk our country's shorelines and streets and anywhere else in the United States without any worry of like an attack or any kind of capture or anything. So hats off to you guys, and thank God for all the soldiers that we have out there serving. Also wanted to mention it's actually a two-sided inflatable as well. Also did kind of find this a little bit interesting just while we're looking at it, pardon the grass, but it has about like an air pocket or a slip down here. I didn't check to see if it had like a zipper last night when I was unboxing it, but I guess that must be their way to compensate for not having a zipper on it. But in general, definitely like the design. Glad it's a two-sided inflatable. It definitely reminds me of a lot of those Jimmys from back in the early 2000s that came long before these ones did and such. Definitely a novelty. You ever see two-sided inflatables anymore. Another new pickup since the last video. I thought I'd give Amazon another try this year, especially after I think they kind of dropped, whoever made the other Archway, they kind of dropped the ball on its like fan quality and such. And for this one, I can say as well, they did do, at least I think the fan, in my opinion, could have been a lot stronger than what it was. But aesthetically, I would say it is better. As you can see, I've had to clothespin the Uncle Sam to the cab of the Locomotive, and you kind of have to bend down to see his face. And I've also had to get some clothespins and clothespin the smoke with the stars and the fireworks up to the top of the locomotive as well. So that was a little bit of a disappointment, but other than that, I could live with, you know, just having to make a few minor modifications with a few things from around the house. But in general, for an Amazon cheap fan, this might actually be one of my favorite Amazon cheap fans, just from the design part of it. Granted, in a few years, if that fan on the back of this car over here gets weak, I may end up having to modify it with a stronger fan like I have my other Archway over here, which I'll show you all here in a minute. But overall, I really like this design. I think in the last wave, I think it definitely is probably my third favorite of the last two that I got. But I mean, still, I mean, all the free in the last wave, I think, were some of my favorites I've got this year. No disrespect to the Ribbon or the Bear, but in general, I love all of them. Like I said, you really can't go wrong with anything Patriotic or red, white, and blue when it comes to me anyway. But definitely like this purchase as well. Just wish the fan on it was just a slight bit stronger and such. And like I was saying over here whenever I was showing off the train, this one, kind of like I said last year with the Uncle Sam, it's had quite the journey since I last documented it on a full-length video. I mean, for starters, from the last view, I did say that this one did have a weak fan, and I mean, it wouldn't take much for rain or wind to blow this thing over. So I kind of gave it a week of R&R whenever I ordered a pull-out fan from Yard Inflatables after I ordered the Uncle Sam hat. And let me come up here now. I mean, I'll show you how much of a difference it's made in the inflation. It inflates pretty decent now. Back before that, it was absolutely about as weak as pushing in on a tarp over a car and such. I guess you could kind of call my work DIY in a bit of an instance, but I was able to recycle a multi-year-old dryer vent pipe that my mother had in the wall of my house and attach it to this AH1 fan. For anybody out there concerned, these things only blow normal heated like air. Like, I mean, there's really not even any heat in the air that comes out of these fans. It's like basically cold air, like what a fan would blow. So I mean, you're not really gonna have to worry about much with like doing this with like any kind of pipes. I mean, I remember like seeing, I think, a video on YouTube on another collector's channel where they did like, I think it was like, it's kind of like a hybrid between like PVC pipe and kind of like a vacuum hose, like you would stick on a vacuum cleaner. And I think his is like a lot more, I think, narrow compared to like this dryer vent pipe, which I think is also good because it allows it to expand more to get into like the area where here I put it down here and zip tied it to the other side of this archway. So definitely like a nice little fix, and it definitely helped this design tremendously, because if it was only running off this little tiny cheapy fan down here, it would not be standing the way it is right now. Because first few nights I struggled when it would rain, it would just fall over within one few little hits of rain, and it was about to be unpresentable as bad as it got. No offense to the company who made this, but if I could give any advice to anybody trying to do that, go to Yard Inflatables and put another fan up in it with like some kind of conduit if you want to use like a pull out, or if you can find a way to try to get like a base fan to put up in it. I definitely would encourage that as well. I'd say for this model in specific, since the fabric is so cheap on it, I'd say maybe at minimum a YEF 80 maybe. I wouldn't go above an 80 though, because I feel like a 125 would probably blow a hole through the side of this thing's fabric, and it'd be probably down for the count and potentially KO'd and not even be usable. But definitely a nice little fix to get this design the respect it deserves. And boy, oh boy, do I love it a lot more than the day I purchased it, because the day I purchased it, I had doubts upon doubts about how this thing would last and such. But good news is she's back up. And this right here is the projector I was mentioning at the beginning of the video. This one is supposed to have 8 shapes on it, and I've been using it the past few nights, and like I said, I'll get to it more like in the nighttime video, which is going to be the update to the last nighttime video, which, by the way, go check that one out if you want to see the original lineup that it first started out with, minus, I guess, the original Archway. But this one, I cannot say enough. I mean, it lights up so much brighter on this wall up here compared to like my old 4 shape. I mean, the manufacturer put a lot of money into modifying and making this thing better, and I'm very excited for you all to see what it looks like at night, especially if anybody wants to stop by or, you know, drive down the road and look at it in person. Definitely probably one of the best investments that I've made in a long time in terms of light effects and such. Sadly for this guy, I probably won't be getting it a companion this year, because I'd say with the moving in and out of the yard that I've got to do when I mow it and such, I don't know that I want to add lucky number 15 on after I modify the Uncle Sam Archway and get that one back out in the display, because it's already enough work having to move 13 at a time, but getting a 15th one would be absolutely just, you know, a backbreaker, having to get out here and do all that. But in general, I might get some more next year. I mean, who knows? I mean, you never know what might pique my interest or what yard inflatables may release that might, you know, go very well. And I might even get that original dog I was talking about as a companion for this one. And I've always left the door open to, you know, getting retro ones as well. But I'd say I'm probably just going to roll with this guy on his own this year and not do a scene with him like I was originally saying in the last video. Well, that's the 2024 Patriotic display during the daytime. Like I said, I'm going to try my best to get another nighttime view out of this one, because I think with the new projector, and then also if I can get the Uncle Sam Archway back up, I definitely want to get it in at least one video this year. And for now, I'd say my last upload will probably come more around 4th of July if I had to imagine, because my first video unfortunately hadn't done the greatest in views and such. So I definitely would encourage anybody who's not seen the original night view to go over and check that one out as well. But overall, definitely happy with what I've got up to this point in the display. Like I said, hope to have the Uncle Sam Archway back for the next time. So for YouTube, comment, like, and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys on the next display video or review.